So I was given this homework, or I was given this task of connecting with you suddenly, just day before yesterday. Yogesh Bhai said, so please, do a talk for us on the Wednesday. We had Yogesh Bhai and we had beautiful time here with him for 4 days. So, so we had various talks with him, and then Brahmins chit chat and classes. It was nice, very nice having him here. So the topic I was given is generosity. It's actually generosity is one of my favorite subjects, and it is one of my favorite. And of course, I love the virtue of generosity. So, so generosity is a virtue where, again, if we take the comparison of generosity in the world outside and generosity in the Brahmin world, it is completely different. So what people understand about generosity, though it is a virtue, same virtue, but the expression of generosity is completely different when we come into confluence age. The expression and the result of generosity is different when we are in copper and iron ages. So if we look back into the history of copper and iron ages, yes, there are many souls who had been generous, whether it is leaders, kings, preceptors, scholars, so who had these virtues of generosity. So, but that expression of generosity in copper and iron ages, and then the virtue of generosity when we come into confluence age, it is quite, though the virtue is same, the expression differs. And again, when we say the word generous, the generosity or generous, of course, we get this virtue from Baba. And for us, Baba says that all your virtues, whatever virtues you inculcate, they become divine because it is Baba's blessing. So, and then that divine blessing of Baba makes our virtues divine. So, and whatever virtues we use in the Brahmin life, so they become our divine virtues. So, of course, there is a huge list of divine virtues, but how the whole process of, yes, we have virtues or we know about virtues. And again, Baba is the ocean of virtues. So Baba's ocean of virtues, we understand, we know the definition and meaning of virtues. And coming to generosity, yes, we know the meaning, what is being generous. But when it comes to practically being that a particular virtue, so when I'm expressing generosity, so one aspect is I need to understand how can I be generous? What is the original virtue where the generosity has come from? Because if we see, though there are 36 virtues, and again, these virtues are originally connected with all our core values, which is the nature of the soul, the core values, which is our true nature, whether it is purity, peace, happiness, love, power, knowledge, etc. So when I look back and see, generosity is a virtue which comes from the virtue of love, right? So unless we don't have that particular love, pure form of love, again, in confluence age, the virtues which have been corrupted, in copper and iron ages, the virtues get corrupted and they become vices. But we clean them in the confluence age, and all the adulteration and the virtues is removed, and divinity is filled in these virtues. And that is how we become divine beings, deities. So that is the process which we undergo. So when it comes to various virtues, they are connected with our original virtues. So generosity is the virtue which is connected with our original quality of love. And one is, yes, we as souls, whatever kind of soul we are, like you see, there are deity souls or the souls who belong to the deity religion. And we have numbers, right? Baba says 8, 108, and 16,108. So whatever numbers, whatever specific soul, the soul becomes that particular number because of certain virtues. So certain virtues are dominant in some. One person, one soul has a dominant virtue of one particular virtue, and the other soul has a dominant virtue of another. So though we are fully complete in all virtues, but when it comes to the making, so there is some or the other speciality in each one of us that makes us special. And usually, one thing is we are special innately, and the other important aspect is we inherit these virtues from Baba. We inherit. Baba always says that I give you all the virtues, I give you all the powers. But how do I make them belong to me? So unless I don't own it, it is not mine. So it is just in the state of understanding and relating that, oh, this virtue is this virtue is this. So, but when I understand and relate, but if I'm not being that, then I'm not owning that virtue. So Baba says that unless you don't become a Brahmin, you don't become a deity. So Brahmin, it doesn't just mean that we follow the principles and we are a Brahmin and then we become a deity. But the process of divinification, that is owning the virtues, happens in this Brahmin life, and that results in becoming divine human beings, which is a deity, means our complete form, which is a deity. So any virtue, today we are taking generosity as the virtue, how it is important. So Baba is the most generous soul. Out of the family of souls, God, Shiv Baba, is, if you see, he is the most generous. And of course, number-wise, again, Baba, Brahma Baba, again, he was the most generous, and Mama. So the generosity we have inherited from Baba. And I inherit something, but the more I use that particular virtue in my life, that will create my fortune. So because whatever virtues and powers and specialities which we have in Confluence Age, so unless we don't use them, we don't create a fortune. So generosity is one of the virtue which plays a major role in creating our fortune. Because Baba says that you are fortunate and you become multi-million-fold fortunate. So, but that can happen only when I'm using what I have. So generosity is, in simple words, of course, in the outside world, they just, simple way they put it. Generosity is where you give without any expectation. So people in the outside world, they think generosity is, okay, doing some charity, giving money away, right? All these aspects physically. But generosity is what Baba teaches us is a very, very broad subject where being generous means one of the first things is Baba says that you have to go beyond your limitation. beyond your boundaries, that is being unlimited. So for which usually Baba uses the word unlimited heart, right? Big heart, the one who has big heart can become generous. So if my heart is not big, then I cannot be generous. So generosity is a virtue. I can express this virtue when my heart is completely full, means it is wide, it is big heart. So when I have a big heart, then the virtue, to express the virtue of generosity becomes very, very easy. So if I have a small heart or closed heart, then the virtue of generosity has limitations. It cannot be expressed. So that is where I and mine comes. So wherever, again, here for us in the Brahman life, so Baba always says, wherever there is I and mine, generosity cannot come. Wherever there is limitation, where I set boundaries, then there can't be generosity. So yes, I'm doing based on my capacity, but not generously. So generously means that is where, I'm expressing my whole completely. I'm giving my best self in all aspects. So generosity actually makes us, it is a virtue in the making of what I have to be in the future. Generosity plays a major role in making what I will be in the future, whatever I am, whatever perfection which I'm going to attain in the end. So this is one of the virtues. So just like, let's say, I will give you one small example, which actually, Baba quoted in one of the Avyakt Murlis, like how generosity is applied in our practical life. Like, let's say an artist is there. An artist, he is trying to paint something, and he wants to do his best in creating that particular art. So, but when he is painting or using stuff, whatever colors, the quality of the colors, the quality of the material, if the artist does not use quality and the amount needed, so whatever art he is making, so that art cannot be perfected. Means it will not, the outcome will not be what he's expecting, because you need, means when you're painting something, when you're doing art, you need the best. If you have to create something best, you have to give the best. So there, what is one of the things the artist cannot do is he cannot economize in using the stuff which he has, whether it is paint, whether it is the quality of the paint, he cannot economize on that. So he cannot economize on using it, but he has to economize in where he's wasting. So when he cannot economize in the quality. In the same way, so in the making our perfection, right, whatever perfect state which we are going to attain. So if I have to be generous, I need to be using whatever I have in a worthwhile way, without conditions, without limitations. Sometimes there is a tendency where one might be giving, you might be giving, but at the same time, there is a boundary of expectation. I'm doing, but I have expectation, I'm doing because, so I need this. So that is the reason I'm giving. So if giving is attached with some form of taking or any kind of expectation, then that is not being generous. Because there, the I-ness has come. I want something. See, there is a motive, is like you are expecting something. There is a motive of selfishness. So when there is that particular limitation of I and mine, then the virtue of generosity cannot be expressed. So the limitation of I and mine, so whenever it comes in any of our day-to-day activity, whether it is service, whenever you're giving something, doing something, when the I and mine comes, it actually limits. That's why Baba always says, have a big heart, because when I have a big heart, that leads to being unlimited, because I can become unlimited only when I have a big heart. If I have a small heart and I have to be unlimited, it is not possible. That is not the path. If I have to go beyond the limitation and become unlimited, I need to have big heart. So this is the way, this is the process. So when I have a big heart, then I'm giving, and the whole process of giving is nothing but taking. Now, scientifically, they say that, in generosity in the world outside, it's called helper's high. Whoever is giving, they completely have a sense of deep joy which they experience. So they experience a very deep joy, very deep contentment, a fulfillment. So it is the expression. So here, so when in the Brahmin world, so when we are using generosity for our own self or in relationships or in service, so wherever the virtue of generosity is expressed, where I'm giving, doing the best, so what's happening is you are constantly receiving. So in generosity, whenever you are giving, you're not losing anything. That is one of the deep aspects. But the problem, all the obstacle which comes in between is whenever I feel that, oh, I'm giving, if I give, but if I don't receive, or if I give this, if I don't get this. So there is some form of limitation which makes us step backward. But if you see, for example, Brahma Baba. So Brahma Baba was so generous hearted. The moment Shiv Baba gave him the task, or made him realize that he is the one who has to become the instrument for world transformation, and he needs to surrender. So Brahma Baba had so big heart, he never thought, or he never created a single thought where, so what will happen to me, or I want this, or there is no form of expectation. And he completely becomes a total renunciate with ease. And he renunciated everything what he had just because he had a big heart. Because he was generous, he could just, let go. He just surrendered everything in Baba's task. And Baba always had this strong determination that he's the one who's going to become Narayan. But yet here, so when it comes to giving, Baba never limited himself, whether financially, whether physically, in any aspect, Baba literally gave. So this is the magic of generosity. So whenever I'm generous, I will lack nothing. This is practically also in my life, in Brahmin life, I've seen. So when you can never think that, oh, if I'm giving away all this, what will happen to my body? What will happen to my mind? What will happen to my wealth or whatever? So, but the more I give, whatever I get back is the best. Because the divine karma philosophy comes into play in this confluence age. So the karma philosophy in copper and iron ages and the karma philosophy here in confluence age is completely different. So abundance, again, so whenever I'm giving, So I don't lack. So whenever I'm giving in a wide consciousness, big heart, having a big heart, and with a higher consciousness, with an unlimited heart. So whatever happens is I return, I get it back. In some form or the other, I get the return without even thinking or expecting for it. So that is the beauty of generosity. So in generosity, the other important aspect is not just whatever you have, you are using or you are giving, but in aspect to relationships. Let's say, how do I use generosity in relationships? Baba always says that when I'm having a big heart, I'm not closed. I don't have a closed heart. Big heart means it's wide open. So, and when I'm having big heart, the expression of generosity is wide open and it is connected with various other virtues. A generous soul always is compassionate. A generous soul is always forgiving. A generous soul is always merciful. Generous soul is always, it has the habit of letting go. So in one of the Murlis, Baba said, so when you are generous, when you have big heart, one of the signs is you don't dislike anyone. You don't dislike any soul. And the other aspect, Baba said, you will not criticize for any of their weakness. Because when you have big heart, you have the ability to accommodate anyone, any kind of weakness someone has. So, but because of the generosity, you tend to help that soul. So in getting over that weakness, but you will not criticize. So Baba explains explicitly, like, very clearly, Baba gives example whenever, like, for example, if we have some sort of criticism for any soul. So when you're criticizing someone, it is like hitting them or kicking them, like, you're just pushing them. So when you're pushed physically, if someone is pushed, let's say, so they get hurt, right? So when they get hurt, so there is pain. So because of the pain, that particular soul remembers consciously, unconsciously, where the pain is coming. And then the consciously or unconsciously, the soul is remembering from where the pain is coming, whatever criticism the soul experienced. So that really impairs the zeal and enthusiasm of the soul, and the soul cannot fly. Means it loses its determination, it loses its courage to get up and move forward. So whereas when I have generosity, what I do is I help the soul. I don't let the soul fall, but I help the soul and help the soul to move forward. That is the difference, actually. So I need to see, so in my relationships, so how much of generosity I have in dealing with others, in relationships. So am I generous enough where I let go? I don't hold on to things, right? I'm compassionate, I'm merciful, I forgive myself or others, and just, let go. Because one of the things which interferes in doing all this is having a small heart or some sort of limitation. I have a limited consciousness that I and mine, or my ego, which comes in between. So that is where I can't give or I can't help others. So, but when generosity, when you start identifying with the virtue of generosity, you don't keep things in your heart of anyone, like Brahma Baba, Mama, the dadis, they are like, they are practical examples of generosity, where they never judged you or criticized you for what you are, but they always uplifted you. They always helped you. So they just, whatever it is, they helped you move forward. So whenever I'm generous in my relationships, I will see that the soul moves forward. That is one of the important signs. So it is not that I move forward and they stay back. No, I help whoever my companions are. So I help them move forward along with me. So that is one of the features of generosity. And generosity when it comes to the task, or it could be seva. So in any task, there is time. We put a lot of time, right? Time is given. So Baba, many a times, Baba says, don't economize your time for service. Economize your time where you're wasting it for useless tasks, or wherever my time is wasted, be economical in those areas. Don't be economical with time when it comes to study, when it comes to yoga, when it comes to seva. So I cannot economize my time in these aspects. So I need to be economical, but yet economical means towards the waste. So in a task, I need to give my time, and the other is resources. So sometimes when someone is limited enough, then you don't want to give what you have to give. You want to give only that much, because no, I cannot give this much. Or whether it is your time, whether it is your specialty, or it could be money even. So financially also, Baba always, sometimes he says, a kings, even copper and iron ages, kings had a big heart. They would never count when they are giving. So financially also, when we have big heart, we don't limit ourselves. Because when we come to Baba, we say that, Baba, so whatever is mine is yours, and whatever is yours is mine. So when we truly have the faith, when we have the faith that whatever I have, it belongs to Baba. And when whatever Baba has, it belongs to me, then there is no question of holding on to not giving. So I become generous enough in giving my time, my energies, because whatever energies I possess in confluence age, the more I use them in Baba's work, for my self-empowerment or for Baba's work. So the return is multifold. So this is one of the aspects which I need to always remember. So Baba always says that you're fortunate. Yes, we come to Baba, we are very fortunate, but we become multi-million fold fortunate only when I use what I have. I don't just come to Baba and become multi-million fortunate, not possible. So if I have to become multi-million fold fortunate, I need to use my thoughts. Let's say, what are the quality of my thoughts? Because the more generous I am, my thoughts become very unlimited, not limited. When I have a big heart, I will not have limited thoughts. I have thoughts which are unlimited, filled with virtues. And when my thoughts are unlimited, my consciousness rises higher. And what happens is I experience an unlimited state. And in that state, nothing which is limited will pull me down, because I'm beyond all of this. Then when I'm beyond, so then naturally anything that is limited will not become an obstacle for me. So this is karmic blessing in the confluence age. The more I become unlimited, the more I'm completely beyond. So then that is like a kind of a blessing for me, where anything that is limited will not become an obstacle in my path of progress. So generosity in thoughts, in words. Again, we discussed the example of the words, like, I need to be, like Baba says, that the words which I use, so the word should be uplifting. It should help someone. So such kind of words, when I have generosity, I will use such kind of words. My intentions, my motives are pure enough where the soul is uplifted. So, and then action. So whenever it comes to action and interaction, I'm just giving, not to hold on to any of the weaknesses. So one of the things which becomes the barrier is, like, as we move, so when we interact with people, so their limited thinking or any kind of weakness, when we see others' weakness, so what happens is our mind gets stuck. You're thinking or trying to make a judgment, or you're trying to analyze, oh, this person is right, wrong. So we spend a lot of thoughts in analyzing, or a kind of judgment, though we might not pass on the words, but inside there is some sort of thinking which is happening when we see others' weakness. So that's why Baba says, don't see weakness. See only the qualities. So when I'm seeing the specialities, what happens is my mind, my intellect is above. So that, of course, I can do that only when I have a generous heart. So when I have a generous heart, I don't give a damn to any of the persons or anyone's weaknesses. I focus on, okay, what is their specialty? The so-and-so has this specialty. So Baba has chosen them. So I let go. So in this way, what happens is I'm not caught up. I just move on and I help others. My consciousness is clean, and then, of course, others, I'm helping others also to progress. So these are the things which are important in practical life. So because whatever I give, I get it back. And I need not think about it. If whatever kind of thinking I have, I will get the return of it. When I have a big heart, let go, and then I'm lifted up very easily, very naturally. And the confluence age is the time. This is the time where Baba says that, see, we fill these divine virtues. Like if you see in the path of devotion, so people go to the temples of the deities because they feel the deities are the generous beings, and whatever they need, whatever difficulty they have, so they completely receive those blessings of generosity from the deities to tackle their difficulties or get over their difficulties. So here Baba says that the memorial of generosity of the confluence age runs through the whole cycle. Baba says that you become so generous that your subjects in the golden and silver ages, and even the devotees in copper and iron ages, they are abundant, they experience abundance. So even from the drishti of the deities, people experience so much of fulfillment. Of course, that is just a stone image, but Baba says that that is image, but the life in that image is there because your effort of fulfilling the desires of the devotees, the effort happens here in the confluence age, and it carries on, and it carries on even in the copper age. So the speciality of generosity has a immense power throughout the cycle. Throughout the cycle, Baba says that you will never lack. So why we will not lack anything in the whole cycle, whether it is a good relationship, whether it is anything physically, we will not lack anything because we have given, we have used our best now in the confluence age. Of course, in golden and silver ages, it is full. But of course, copper and iron ages, again, it is number wise. The sanskars, based on our sanskars, whatever we get in copper and iron ages, again, it's subject to what we are now. So, confluence age is the time that we really use generosity in our life, practical life, not just saying, practically. So, whatever I use, again, when I'm using, there needs to be life in my thoughts. Okay, you're doing, like let's say someone is doing, giving. But I'm not a robot, right? Nowadays, AI, it does everything. That the artificial intelligence does everything, but there is no life in that. There is no intention in that. So in confluence age, when I'm doing something, there needs to be that particular life in it. I might be doing a lot for Baba, but what is my feeling while doing? That is very important. If that feeling is filled with a lot of generosity, so I'm like, reaping a lot of fruit out of what I'm doing. So if I'm just doing like a task, then there is no life. There is no difference between me and a robot. But if there is life, there is a virtue in what I'm doing, then completely it is different. Like even we see, many a times, in the Middle East, we hire a servant to do the tasks. When a servant does the task of cleaning or any kind of task, when a Brahmin does a task, there is a difference of day and night. Completely different. Because the consciousness of a person who's earning money, the consciousness is because he's getting a pay. But whereas for a Brahmin, there is a lot of love involved. So there is completely shift in the energy because the kind of intentions which we are carrying, so that makes the place. So generosity is a virtue I use in every aspect, in my relationships, anything. So, and this really lifts us up completely. It takes us. And even, I have seen when I first came to Bahrain, I remember, Baba's house was small and we had very limited resources. But slowly, everything expanded. And of course, there was no lack. That happened only when it was used in a right way. Whatever resources we had, we used in a right way. We used and we benefited. As we started to benefit and as we started to give, we started to give and it started to expand. So in the same way, whatever I do for myself now, I receive it for the whole cycle. So that's why I should be very happy whenever I'm giving something, even whenever I do something. Actually, sometimes people say, oh, you're so tired and you keep doing. But I enjoy it. I enjoy it when I'm doing, when I'm giving. So there is a lot of joy. There is a lot of happiness. And that joy and happiness, I cannot get it from anything. Anyone, anything in this world can give the joy or happiness or the contentment which you get when you do something with a big heart. So this is my personal experience. Anytime, whenever I do something with a big heart, without any limitation, the joy, the happiness, the contentment is non-measurable. It can't be measured. I can't measure it with anything. So it is so full. You become so full and, So even if your body is tired, it doesn't matter. Or if your mind is completely occupied, it doesn't matter. But the kind of contentment inside is very, very deep. And that is what is your treasure. That is the treasure. So, and then these are the treasures I accumulate now, and I also share with others. So when I share, so that is where again abundance comes in. So again, recently in one of the Murlis, right? Baba said recently, I don't remember, was it Abhyak Murli or one of the Murlis, Sakar? Baba said, whatever you lack, donate that. You give it. If you lack something, you give it, and then you get it back. You can experiment this practically. Anything, it could be anything. It could be a virtue, it could be money, it could be a specialty. So whatever you lack, you try to use it in the yagya, and then it will come back. It will grow. It will grow. It's like seeds. The seeds are sown, and then, of course, so you reap the fruit of it. I think, should I end here? Sister Maria?
If you want to say something more, yes, you can say. But really so interesting. We cannot stop listening to you. We want to listen to more things. You explain everything so deeply and with so much love and so much generosity. And yes, having a big heart is really very important. Um, I don't see any questions here, but uh, I understand that you are in Bahrain in Middle East. How many years are you there?
In Bahrain, it's 19 years.
Yeah. So how do people there accept knowledge actually? I've been to Bahrain many years ago, but mostly they were Indian uh, souls who were coming to the center at that time. But how people accept, not the Indian background people, how do they accept all this beauty of Baba's knowledge?
Actually, in Bahrain, there is a lot of Arab service which happens. Of course, we have the big lot of Brahmins is from the Indian background, but a lot of Arab service does happen here, and we cater different courses, whether it's meditation, stress management, positive thinking, so different courses for them, and people come in big numbers, seminars, people come in big numbers, and we make sure that we give what they want. So that is one of the things. Whatever they need, we give that. We don't give them extra. We don't bombard them with the whole deeper knowledge. So if they are keen, if they are more interested, so when they ask us, then we take them into the intermediate, or else there is no intermediate course for other backgrounds, non-Arabic, those who are from other backgrounds, we don't give them. So whatever they need, they take it. And then if they want more, and then we are very particular about what. So because they're very comfortable with whatever they are, then, we give them that much. So that is how we do. And that's the reason there is a goodwill. So people know that it is not something, we are not changing them, or we are not changing their faith. So they have that particular faith. So that is the reason a lot of Arabs come and be in touch with us, and they come for different seminars, because each topic is different. So based on their interest, so people come to take the benefit. So that is how the service happens here. But not, we have few Murli students who come, the Arabs who come, but we don't give them deeper gyan.
Great. I still don't see any questions on the chat, but unless if you have some,
Any
uh,
questions?
I don't see any questions. You were very clear, actually, and there was so much wisdom of what you shared, and really, you shared actually Baba's wisdom, but it seems that you have inculcated it. So, uh, let's see. No, I don't have any questions here.
One question is here. Why do certain souls not thank you when something is offered to them in the Lokic world? Someone receives something, it shows gratitude, but some Biko souls don't even move, not even a thank you say. That doesn't it show a closed heart? Why do these souls act like this? So, yeah, I got that question. So, when we talk about a generous heart, so generous heart is what I give. See, if someone is not saying thank you or not having a gratitude, so it is the part of that soul. So why I should be bothered? Why do I need a thank you? That is the part of that soul. That is the quality of that soul. So because of the quality of that soul, why should I lose my own quality? So if I have given, if I have done in a best way, let it be. That's it. So why should I expect the fruit here? So one of the things I always, I always keep this in my mind, and always Baba emphasizes in Sakar and Avyak Mulis, when I'm giving, I'm doing. So one thing we have to understand that you're not doing for someone. You're doing because that is what you are. You're expressing yourself. So that is what creates a value for yourself. So if someone is not valuing what you're doing, it doesn't mean that your value is reduced. So that is my quality, and the other one has that quality. So I should not get caught up. Sometimes we get caught up in these small things. And then, sometimes it might be a small thing. You must have spent a lot of energy, right? Let's say, take an example. You did so much for that particular soul. And at the end of the day, that soul did not reciprocate or did not have any gratitude. And you feel sad about it. So, but on the contrary, what you have done is your best. So I need to be happy of what I have done. I should not get caught in the other person's attitude. So this is what happens when I have a close heart. One is I'm expecting that this person needs to, because I was doing, because I was wanting that particular value from that person. But if I'm able to give value to myself, why will I need a value or a kind of acknowledgement for someone? So this is, of course, this needs a lot of practice. It's not easy. This is not easy. So let's say, for example, there might be scenarios where you do a lot, but you're not acknowledged. You do a lot, but you're not existing. That's fine. So this needs a lot of courage. So this needs a lot of big heart. So then only it's possible. So as human beings, our human nature definitely gets in between. So naturally, we want that kind of acknowledgement and gratitude from others. But Baba says that when you're giving, when you're doing, it is doing for me, right? So when you have done for me, I'm the one giver. So whatever I need, I take from Baba. Why should I take from a human being? So when I have this particular attitude, then what I become compassionate towards that particular. So, okay, it's fine. That person doesn't know how to thank or whatever. So, but I should not have that critical attitude towards that soul. It needs a lot of, forgiveness inside. I need to really, or else imagine, we spend so many thoughts thinking about, oh, I did so much, but I'm not recognized. I did this, but I did not get. Whatever you have done, it's all gone because you're just in a completely different frame of mind. So it's very important not to get caught up in these traps. These are traps, mind traps, which really drain a lot of energy. What are the qualities and effort behind the fact of never calculate how much you give and the others don't give back? How can we work towards being more generous? What are the qualities and the effort behind the fact of never calculate how much you give? And yeah, so how can we work towards being more generous? Because sometimes I want to give more, but don't know to whom and how. Okay. So actually, to really make this particular effort, I need to expand. So one of the things I need to expand myself. Expand myself means having a big heart. So doing something, you can start how to start becoming generous. So you can experiment by doing something. It could be anything with a complete, full lot of good feelings, pure feelings, good wishes, and lot of love for the yagya. And make one particular thought very clear, not to expect anything in return. Because Baba was bound to give. See, whatever I do in Confluence Age, Baba is bound to give me in return. Baba says 1:100 is the ratio. Whatever you do here, you get the 100 times more. The same applies for negative. The same applies for positive. But this has to be ingrained deep down, even deep to your subconscious mind. Sometimes only at a mind, means at a superficial level, we think that, oh, I'm not expecting anything. I'm not expecting anything. I'm just giving. But over a period of time, after some time, when things get, piled up, see, I did this much, you start counting. I did so much. I did this much. I did this much. I did this much. And then when things pile up and when it gets to a point, it will burst. So make it very clear. So when I'm giving, the first thing is, if I'm not having expectation, first thing I should be experiencing happiness. That is the sign. Whenever I'm expressing generosity, so whatever I'm doing, so it should be very clear that I'm doing it for Baba, right? And it is my fortune, and it is my fortune that I'm getting this chance that I'm giving or doing any task for Baba. This is my fortune. So, and then after doing, surrender it to Baba. This is one of the important things. Don't hold on to it. Oh, I have this specialty. I've done so nicely. Don't try to boast yourself from inside. If you have done, after doing it, immediately surrender. Don't even accept that I have this specialty. So even when we have that particular ego, mild, that I-ness, so it will limit you. So then, that is where I get hurt when someone says or someone didn't respect or didn't acknowledge of what you have done. Then there is a slight pain or some sort of sorrow which we take. But if I have really surrendered with heart, because surrender happens through heart, not through words, not through mind. It is completely heart. And generosity is something to do with heart. Heart means where the feelings are involved. So it's very important to check my feelings. Sometimes superficially we say that, no, I'm not expecting anything. But what are your feelings? So that is the measure. How much generous I am, that is the measure when I see my feelings. So superficially, I might show that I'm not expecting, but inside, am I happy? Am I content? So this is the measure. So I should start from there. And one of the formula, it should be very clear. By giving, by doing, I will not lose anything. Sometimes people think that they are going to lose something, oh, my time is wasted. Why should I spend so much time, or why should I give so much of anything? So, but anything done with generosity comes back, reaps back with good amount of folds. So I should not think about the return. Don't even measure about the return. It just, it will just come back. Just keep giving. So can I say Baba has given me this specialty, and so I can use it, and I trust the specialty will be there for me to be used. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. So, and then here, one of the question, how can we work towards being more generous? Because sometimes I want to give more, but don't know how to, whom and how. So this, you can check with a senior how, and take the guidance from the senior. So it's very important, whoever is your instrument, senior instrument. So the guidance should be from there. So you can keep a clear account of what you have. You can share to the senior instruments. Say that, I want to do this, and that's where you will be guided.